This is Volusia Today, a public information radio program brought to you by the County of Volusia. Here is your host, Kevin Captain.
Good morning and welcome to Volusia Today. I'm Kevin Captain, and today I'm joined by co-host David Hunt. You're listening to Volusia Today, which is sponsored by the Daytona Beach International Airport, the Ocean Center, Volusia Recycles, and Votran Public Transportation. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Kevin. How's it going?
It's going. I think we've got some events to talk about today.
Kevin, I mean, you look at the streets, it's always beautiful in Volusia County. I feel like every day is an event day.
Yeah, you're right, Dave. Well, we've got our first guest is Tim Riddle. He's the director of the county's Ocean Center. And our other guest is...
LCB with the DBA CVB.
Oh, that's...
You know.
DVAC... Okay, there are too many acronyms, Dave.
Yeah.
LCB is Lori Campbell Baker with the Daytona Beach Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. So good morning, Tim. Good morning, Lori.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks so much for being here. So, Tim, hey, tell us a little bit about what's shaking at the Ocean Center. What's coming up?
Well, we're just finishing up a Spray Foam Polyurethane Alliance convention today, just proving there's a convention for everything.
Oh, my God.
And, we move into Quilt Week is next week.
That's a big, that's a really big event, isn't it?
Take the building for 7 days. It's a big event, lots of folks. And then we get into March, U.S. Gymnastics. It's a national event, which we don't, get a lot of those, but U.S. Gymnastics bringing their trampoline and tumbling championships to Daytona Beach right before Bike Week. And then after that, we get into the Florida Color Guard and end up the month with a local event, Council on Aging's Dancing Through the Decades. So,
well, that's great.
Local events too, so.
There's always a lot of talk about having more local events at the Ocean Center, so it's great to hear about that. But you mentioned a national event. You really have events from all over that come into Volusia County.
I tell people we have a very diverse client base when it comes to Ocean Center. So,
and Lori, what? For those who might know, I still need to know, what is the Daytona Beach Area Convention and Visitors Bureau?
Well, thank you for asking.
Yes, of course.
It's kind of confusing, right?
What is the CVB?
What is the CVB? So a lot of people hear Convention and Visitors Bureau, and they think that I get to work with Tim every day. But we work with Tim and his team a lot. We are in charge of basically marketing the destination to visitors, to overnight visitors to the area. So not only are we looking for leisure visitors, but we're also working with tour operators and travel agents and meeting planners, and we're trying to help Tim and his sales crew to fill the Ocean Center for citywide convention. So we do a little bit of all of that. And we do it through bed tax money that is not paid by our local citizens. So we're excited to say that Tim and I have budgets that are based on bed taxes. So it's a percentage charged on your room rate, whether you're in a campground or a high-end hotel or even an Airbnb or a VRBO. You pay into that. So that pays for tourism marketing, and it's paying down the bonds on the Ocean Center. It's all good stuff.
Yeah, it all kind of goes together, you could say.
For sure.
What we're in the marketing field. What are some campaigns and what's the focus right now for the? Can I say CVB now that we?
Absolutely.
All right.
Now that we've established what that means, sure, Dave. Why not?
Bureau. So as of October 1, our 11-member board, which by the way is appointed by the Volusia County Council, went with the Zimmerman Agency. That's our advertising agency of record out of Tallahassee, Florida. So our campaign is Beach On. And it is so much fun because there are so many different applications to it. They went out, shot a lot of new images, a lot of new footage. They're doing some super creative stuff. We're about to have a 3-dimensional corner. I'm using my hands, but I don't really know what it's.
We'll see it on the video.
It's a 3D billboard in Times Square.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
Wow.
And it's going to be all about the Daytona Beach area, which, just as clarification, is not the city of Daytona Beach. It actually runs pretty much from the Flagler County line all the way down to Ponce Inlet and from the ocean all the way out to the interstate. So, so we're excited. We're doing some fun stuff, sort of out-of-the-box stuff to get people to notice this destination and to book meetings, to book vacations, to come to Daytona Beach area.
Well, my wife is from Maryland, and her whole family is from Maryland, and we're like, oh, y'all should come down, and they said, oh, we can't come down. You're still destroyed from the hurricanes. I think that here in Volusia County, we have an understanding that everything's back open, and what happened, where we're at, what's going on. And for me, it's hard to jump out to that 30,000 foot view where you're actually marketing throughout the country to try to get people to come here who might have just saw one news bite about the world's most shark bite or whatever that article was, which is perception and a clickbaity from my perspective, who has surfed and lived here my entire life. But it's the same thing with the beach. If you just see one news article, that's kind of what you're trying to target, those people that don't even live here and don't have an idea at all.
Yeah, that's that USA Today article on the deadliest beaches, which was grossly mischaracterized.
They had to go back to 2010 in order to compile enough data to, in 2023, come up with a list that made Ormond Beach and New Smyrna Beach look dangerous. I will tell you, years ago we worked with Dr. Beach, Dr. Stephen Leatherman, on types of beaches, and one of the things that he pointed out was that Volusia County has so much access to the beach, so many people coming to the beach. We have 10 million visitors a year coming to Volusia County. There's just more people in the water here because they can get in the water. And there's more places where they can be. We have an award-winning lifeguard crew. So when they look at some of those statistics, know that you're in a safe place if you're in the water in Volusia County. But to your point about the storms, we just did a consumer trade show in Washington, D.C., and the way it kind of shakes out is there are some people that will come up to you and say, oh, wow, I heard the storms devastated your shoreline, and other people will say, storms? You guys had storms? What now? So it's a little bit of both, but we're still marketing against some of those very dramatic images that people took, whether it was media or local residents after the storms. We lost about 9 feet of sand. Some of that has come back. And I will say Volusia County has done an extraordinary job of getting access back, the beach ramps, the parks, and that sort of thing. Can't say enough about that. And so to your point, we're nearly back, but we still have some pockets that need a lot of work.
Yes.
And the county does have the Volusia Beaches app where it's in real time, it's updated, as well as on volusia.org, where any new tourists, vacationers can come in. They can go to that site. As Dave has said before in previous shows, they just got to do a little homework before they go to the beach to determine what access point they're going to use. But to your point, a lot of it is about access. And so with your marketing message, it is still beach on.
Mm-hmm. It is still beach on. It is very much beach on. And here we are in February, and it is a gorgeous day outside. And I went and checked the waves this morning, as I do, because I also surf. And there's a lot of people on the beach enjoying the beach, and they're in the water without wetsuits, by the way. Mm-hmm. So whereas if you live in Florida for a while, you get a little sensitive to cold, they're excited to be from places like Maryland, where it's cold right now. They come down here, and this is paradise.
It is. And speaking of the beach recovery efforts, the county has got a lot of initiatives for that recovery, but we do know it's going to take some time until we're back to being completely normal. But, when you mention walkovers and access points, I think we had 128, right, Dave, out of 141 that were either completely destroyed or damaged.
128, somewhere in that number.
And so we're over half there now with having them open. So they're really putting access as a high priority for the tourism industry.
I have to say the Beaches app has been so valuable to our visitors, but I will also say that as residents, you've done a good job getting the word out. That's what helps you to have a great beach experience, when you know which ramp is open if you need to take the car and all of your stuff, or which park is open. That helps you to have a great beach experience. So don't, as residents, I would say don't forget to check in with the app, because things change a lot. A ramp that's open may not be open as long as it used to be because the low the low tides and the medium tides feel a little more like high tides these days because we don't have as much sand. So just know that you can still have a great beach experience. You might just have to plan a little bit.
That's it, because everybody's got their favorite surf spot. Everybody's got their spot that they used to always go to, and that spot might be a little bit more full these days because there's less spots in reality. So. Right. I found that having that backup spot where I could in the general area of where I was going was super helpful. It took all that stress away. So like I'm basically echoing what you're saying. Plan it out. Have a couple different backups in mind. Still go down and enjoy it. It's the beach on. It's open.
Beach on, and the fact that it's updated pretty much in real time is just so helpful. Yep. I mean, it's an invaluable tool that I just want everybody to use. So.
Us too.
We're talking with Lori Campbell Baker with the Daytona Beach Convention and Visitors Bureau and Tim Riddle with the county's Ocean Center. We'll take a quick break and come back and talk a little bit about what's new at the Ocean Center. Stay with us.
I'm Will Roberts, your Volusia County tax collector. This is a friendly reminder that the deadline to pay property taxes is coming up. Please make sure your payment is postmarked by March 31st to avoid late fees. If you are mailing a check for your property taxes, please make sure your check is made payable to Will Roberts, tax collector. You also may pay by phone or online. If you are paying with a debit or credit card, there is a service fee. Please know that my office does not receive any portion of this service fee. If you have questions about your tax bill, please call us at 386-736-5938 or visit our website at vctaxcollector.org. That's vctaxcollector.org.
We're back. I'm David Hunt along with Kevin Captain, and you're listening to Volusia Today, a public information program brought to you by the County of Volusia.
Thanks, Dave. So we're talking with Tim Riddle and Lori Campbell Baker. Tim, riddle me this. See what I did there?
Never heard that before.
Never heard that before.
Yeah.
When we have Jim Judge on the show from Emergency Management or anybody from his team, they usually say in their dialogue, they'll say, well, we've got blue skies or we've got gray skies, because that's their industry language, so to speak. But in your business, in the convention business, I've heard you guys say, well, there's X amount of dark days. I mean, why do you call them dark days, and why don't you call them like?
And what is a dark day?
Yeah,
what is a dark day?
I understand it's more like, from my understanding, it's maybe you should call it a power cleaning day, but why a dark day?
We could call them event days, which makes sense, and non-event days, but that just doesn't roll off the tongue like dark days. There you go, dark days on non-event days.
What is a dark day?
It's just a day when there's no event activity. Obviously, and we need those dark days. That's one thing everybody needs to understand. We do a lot of the routine stuff no matter what's in the building, maintaining restrooms, doing routine cleaning. But you can't get to the deep cleaning, whether it's carpets, terrazzo floors, maintenance on everything that moves, whether it's movable wall panels, HVAC systems, escalators, elevators. So you need those dark days to do, that type of thing. You just can't do when there's hundreds or thousands of people, inside the building. So.
And for the Ocean Center, when you compare the number of dark days that you have, comparatively to some of the other convention centers, say in Florida, you really don't have that many. I understand.
No, our calendar stacks up very well. And the way I explain dark days is, and I actually looked just for the show, we had 8 dark days in January, which for us is a lot. 7 of those were on Monday through Wednesday, because our activity also peaks towards the weekends most of the time. February we only have 3 dark days. 2 of them are this weekend. Daytona 500, when you can't get hotel rooms, for convention type business.
Sure.
So it makes sense. In March, there's 9 dark days. 7 of them are bike week. But that doesn't. But also in March, we rent the Main Street lot that the county owns to Polaris or Indian Motorcycles. That's our busiest 10 days of parking that we'll do all year, because we have the surface lots and garage and a lot of activity nearby. So we're still busy. Even we're always busy even on dark days, either doing internal maintenance or other activities. But I tell people a good way to look at it is our building is 2 blocks long. To turn a building that size and clean it between events, I said, if you took 2 days, if you took a Monday, Tuesday every week, just to do all that maintenance and cleaning, that's 8 dark days a month. So every month, any month with 8 dark days would be a good month.
That's a
for
good
Ocean
point.
Center.
Plus, you're close to the water, so you've got an increased amount of sort of deterioration of the building being coastal.
We've all learned the words chloride intrusion over the last few years, and we definitely deal with that, 400 feet from the ocean as well. So,
go ahead.
Yeah, I've had people. I sit on the tourist development board with Tim, and I've had people say, there's not enough events going on, and I'm so glad you talked about what you call dark days. But I think sometimes the clarification is there's an event going on, but I can't go. It's not open to the public. Because sometimes when groups come in, they want the Ocean Center, but it's not something that has, a ticket that you can buy.
Well, some are private events.
They're private events. And so it looks from the outside, it looks from the resident point of view like maybe there's nothing going on, but there's a lot going on, and they're paying the bills, they're helping us. So there's this perception that if I can't go, that there's nothing happening, and that is anything but the truth. And what Tim and his group try to do is kind of balance, and it's sometimes a tricky balance, things that we as residents can do, but then things that bring in revenue for our local businesses.
That's
folks
a good
that
point.
stay for several nights, they stay in the hotels, they eat in the restaurants, they shop in the shops. The economic impact of what the Ocean Center is doing is absolutely huge.
Yeah, our primary thrust is economic impact. I mentioned a spray foam convention that's still here, ends today. Also this weekend, though, we had 5,000 people with Signature Equipo Vision, which is a Hispanic-based Amway group. 5,000 people there for 3 days. Nobody knew, because it's a private event.
Sure.
You register, you come in, and you attend. But 3 days, and again, 5,000 people for 3 days. And really, I don't say it goes unnoticed. People probably wonder, why are the restaurants more crowded? Why are there more people on the streets? But they don't really know, per se.
Well, like Lori said, those are still 5,000 heads and beds, locally, and they might be on the beach, they might be in the restaurant, they might be shopping.
Which is a big reason Ocean Center, just like we talked about, we're not a burden on the local taxpayer, which is great news for everybody.
Yeah.
And we also refer to the Ocean Center as an enterprise fund. Can you explain that?
Well, it just means you operate like a private business, more so than some governmental funds like a public works or road, type fund or something like that. But, we operate very much as a private sector business in most aspects of what we do.
When we talk about Paradise Beach from your perspective, how valuable of a resource is the Ocean Center? It's a 2-block long convention center. So how valuable is that when you're doing your marketing, you're trying to reach outside the area? How valuable and how unique is the Ocean Center?
Well, it's very valuable, and it's also super unique. It's so close to the ocean. And for some meeting planners, they want to really hone in on, look how close we are to the ocean, look at how cool this area is, because that helps them with attendance. Mm-hmm. More people will sign up, more people will come. They'll bring their families, they'll stay for extra days. So even if the convention is over on a Thursday, they might stay the whole weekend because they're in town for that. So it's huge in terms of marketing.
And I would almost flip that back the other way as well, in terms of, we're not an island. We can't do what we do without a destination. So a positive perspective of the destination, helps us sell Ocean Center, because again, nobody wants to go to a convention center in the middle of a field if there's nothing, no restaurants, no
Right.
hotels. So
we've all been to that one,
Yeah.
right?
Right. So it's kind of a symbiotic type
Sure.
relationship, and we need the destination to be well thought of, well marketed, to help us fill our Ocean Center. Again, having an asset like Ocean Center is a big draw on their side as well. So,
and speaking of food, I can attest to this, that the vendor that you have in the Ocean Center that provides the food for these big events, it's spectacular.
I tell people, it's good food is good food, but when you're cooking, for the masses, hundreds or thousands, it's an art form. It's when you've got 1,000 meals going into warming boxes, knowing the first one that goes in, you have to leave it maybe a tad undercooked, because it's going to sit in that warming box longer than the ones that come off the line last, and all that is really an art form, and we're lucky to have a great artist in Chef John Schmidt.
Chef John is amazing.
And it's big business. You go over there, and a lot of people don't realize the production that goes into these events. So there's an event day, and a lot, like you said, we did there was a firefighters convention there. We went over there for the PIO aspect of it, and I guess they'd been doing it for multiple years. I had no clue, but they loved it. There was all great. Everybody was just happy to be there. Like you said, they stayed for multiple days. They stayed the weekend, all that. But then on the back end of that, when you talk about renting the space, a lot of these events take multiple days to set up, correct? So when it comes to like scheduling, how do you work that in?
Yeah, matter of fact, the spray foam convention, the convention actually began Monday. They started moving in last Thursday. So they moved in Thursday
It must
through.
be one big industry.
It is. Building in part of the parking lot. But you're right. It's people see the execution day. Nobody sees all the setup. Nobody sees all the tear down and cleanup. They're there for the event, and that's a lot of our event activity is those what we call move in and move out days. So.
Sure. No, those are important too. Speaking of events, we're in the time of year now. We've got the Daytona 500, and we've also got Bike Week. And I know, Lori, you're okay. I got a question for you.
Okay.
Quarter helmet. Half helmet, full face. I hope you wear a full face.
All the gear at GAT,
all right,
girl.
all right.
All the gear, all the time. All the gear, all the time. Yes.
Good deal.
So yeah, we have a lot of great events coming in. Speed Weeks is huge, and the Speedway itself just shines a very positive, huge light on the Daytona Beach area for the entire world.
It sure does.
NASCAR, all the teams. Rolex, for instance, a couple weeks ago, completely sold out early. And if you walk through the garages during Rolex, all languages are spoken. They are introducing this area to people from all over the globe, and the Daytona 500 does the same thing. So we're racing tomorrow night, Friday night, and of course Saturday, in the big race on Sunday. So tons and tons of people coming into this area.
And the race, the 500 is sold out as well.
The 500 sold out faster this year than it has in recent years. So the fact that the hospitality is sold, the grandstands are sold, like everything's sold, we are going to have a gigantic crowd in town, and we can move traffic in this area. So you think in terms of, I've been around here for a while. It used to take hours to break down the traffic and get everybody going, but we have it down to an art, between the police departments and the sheriff departments and traffic control. They can move these folks in and out so gracefully. It's kind of like a dance. So it's not, unless you're right in that general area, it's not, you almost don't even know, except that you're seeing the impact on your local businesses. A ton of cash infusion into this area,
sure.
The entire county.
For sure.
So, huge kudos to the Speedway.
And the same thing when you're talking about a flow of cash and an economic influence. Bike Week and the CVB also deals with what kind of efforts and coordination do you do with Bike Week and Biketoberfest?
So that's a good question. So Bike Week is actually owned by the Daytona Regional Chamber, and that is a long-standing 10-day event that's in March. Biketoberfest is our event, and that's in October, and that's a smaller event. It's like the baby.
More local.
Yeah, a little bit more local, but still pulls from the southeastern United States. Bike Week is a bit more vast and, so much going on. But the Convention and Visitors Bureau is the one that markets both of those. So we put something close to $100,000 in marketing of both of those events individually, in order to make sure that people who are riders know that it's happening. We're always looking at that next generation of rider and visitor, right? So where are the women? Where are the young people? Where are the sports bikes? Where are the adventure bikes and the trikes? So we're always trying to get that word out in various ways, whether it's through social media. We still do some print. I just was on the site for women riders, and they have a women's ride on March 8th, and they served an ad to me, and I signed up. I've never done a women's ride before, but it's based out of the Speedway, so
that's great.
We'll be kickstands up at 9 a.m. March 8th, so we're hoping to get some good pictures while we're out.
That's
but a lot
wonderful.
of good things going.
We're talking with Lori Campbell Baker with the Daytona Beach CVB and Tim Riddle with the Ocean Center. We'll take our last break and come back and wrap up Volusia Today. Stay with us.
I'm Will Roberts, your Volusia County tax collector. Paying your annual property taxes in one lump sum may not be easy for everyone. The good news is that you have another option. If it's easier for you to divide your tax bill into 4 quarterly payments, you should consider signing up for the quarterly installment plan, but you must sign up by April 30th. Once you are on the plan, your payments will be due in June, September, December, and March. We will send you a bill each quarter as a reminder to make a payment. Again, the deadline to sign up to pay in installments for the tax year is April 30th. The application to sign up and more information is on our website at vctaxcollector.org/taxes. That's vctaxcollector.org/taxes.
Subscribe to the Volusia County YouTube channel.
Let's go!
There are so many great places to explore.
And things to learn.
We have countless features showcasing history, nature, wildlife, and recreation. Subscribe and hit the bell icon.
Go ahead, subscribe.
But that's not it. There's more. Subscribe and hit the bell icon and fully explore.
Score!
We're back. I'm David Hunt along with Kevin Captain, and you're listening to Volusia Today, a public information program brought to you by the County of Volusia.
Thanks, Dave. So we got just a couple minutes left. You got a quick message for the community, Lori?
I absolutely do. So the CVB's out there in the community. We're doing listening sessions. So when you see that, be sure to sign up. But you can be a rock star in your own household by jumping on DaytonaBeach.com, where they have the calendar of events, free things to see and do, all the things that you'd want to share with your friends and family that are visiting. And we know they're visiting because you live in the Daytona Beach area.
Of course, they're visiting my house. It's funny when you say you'll be a rock star, because I remember that commercial from the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That was funny. You're not a rock star. Tim, where can people find out what's going on at the Ocean Center?
Very similar message, oceancenter.com. You can look at our calendar online. You can also request that a calendar be emailed to you every month with upcoming events. And that's where and that calendar will list what's public and private. So you'll get an idea of what you possibly, could buy a ticket to or attend. And then we also do special emails for some big events. So you can sign up to receive those emails as well.
So it's just right on the front page of oceancenter.com.
Yes.
Good deal. Well, with our last minute or so, anything that you guys like to do on the time off that you have?
On the time off that we have, I would say...
Laura's like, yeah, what is that?
I would say definitely explore the area. There is, I guarantee, something about this area that you've never seen and never done and that you will rave about. So for great ideas, hit the website, DaytonaBeach.com.
Wonderful. Tim?
Your free time, we try to go camping when we can.
Good for you. Yeah, you got that RV. So.
That's right.
Well, with that, thank you so much, Tim and Lori, for being on the show today. With that, we'll wrap up Volusia Today. Take care, stay safe, and help your neighbors.
If you have a comment about Volusia Today, or if there is a topic you would like to hear featured, please contact Volusia County Community Information at 1-866-345-0345.